All of you are able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Some Vanita has raised the hands. Can you just check what is it? So today we are going to have the students from the BRDS Design Center Studio from Kerala. So they have about close to 25 plus students.
Kerala, is it?
Yes, this is from the BRDS Center.
Okay.
So we'll go live by 6:10. That's the request from the center. And students will join us.
No problem. No problem.
Arvind sir, you must have read the article today about the metaverse is already changing the way we market, buy and sell.
Yes, yes.
And there's another good article today about high-end tech talent, key to fantasy sports.
Yeah, but I have my own doubts on the metaverse because the privacy of data is something which I'm very worried about.
Okay.
Because now they have acquired WhatsApp, they have acquired Facebook and LinkedIn and all that.
Got it.
Not LinkedIn yet, but they just generally tend to share information amongst them and bombard you with advertisements and spoil your privacy. In fact, a lot of industries have started separate practice on metaverse, the new version, the 3D reality and all of them.
Okay.
All the big 5 IT companies have started their own vertical specialization in trying to apply metaverse related techniques for their customers.
Oh, got it. Okay. So AR VR is going to be much in demand then. This is what is.
Absolutely. It's just that the shortage of chips in the global market is what is causing the delay in terms of supply. So probably because of the Shanghai crisis in COVID and also the Ukraine war. I think another 4 or 5 months, once the global chip shortage is managed, then I think this will all happen. Because the hardware is being manufactured for metaverse exclusive right now.
Got it.
We have to again look at the legality part, because and the adoption, if it comes to Chinese market, okay, it's a highly regulated market.
True.
Okay,
True.
so like that, each and every country has its own reservations on how this platform would operate.
In fact,
Because they have seen the phenomenal.
The writer also mentioned about Tanishq jewelry. Na? So they recently launched its Romance in Polki jewelry collection.
Yeah, last week I attended one webinar on Tanishq. They invited me, and it's a wonderful experience
to try the bespoke jewelry virtually.
See, most of these are kind of a novelty. Okay, many technologies would come and go, and much of it would get into the space of novelty, which would be of immense interest for a short time, and again it loses if it doesn't have the inherent capability to stand. So yes, this is a phenomenal transformation happening as far as metaverse is concerned. But again, a lot of regulatory and the technology aspect, and in terms of connectivity, the 5G, everything has to be in place for smooth functioning.
Got it. Okay, another 1 minute to go, and then we are live.
So we can start, sir.
Yes.
It's already late. Where's Arjun?
He's looking for universities, right? Maybe he's held up there.
You look so tense. By the way, did you get to choose the university?
No, I'm unable to find a university that meets my requirements.
Whoa. Meet your requirements? What exactly are you looking for?
I'm looking for a place that gives me an opportunity to grow, to excel, to invent, and to innovate. I want to be a part of an institution that paves my way to discover myself and to witness the world moving forward in technology. I want to go to a place that sets a futuristic pattern of education filled with ideas and radical performances. Basically, I want to live my dream.
Dayanand Sagar University. Live the dream.
So we go live. So good evening to one and all, and a warm welcome to all our distinguished speakers for the day. And also a warm welcome to the BRDS Kerala team, as well as the students who are joining us for this exclusive webinar on the topic New Age Design Careers, organized by Dayanand Sagar University School of Design. I am Srinivas Shinde. I'll be your host for today. And with this, I would like to take the opportunity of introducing our esteemed speakers for the day. Our speaker one, Honorable Vice Chancellor for Dayanand Sagar University, Dr. K.N.B. Murthy. Sir is a professor for computer science engineering, while also being the Vice Chancellor at Dayanand Sagar University. Sir has been the former Vice Chancellor at PES University, Bangalore. Sir holds a bachelor's degree in electrical power engineering and a master's degree in electrical engineering from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. Sir holds a PhD in computer science engineering from Indian Institute of Technology, Madras. Sir has worked as a research specialist in parallel computing at New Mexico State University, US. Sir is currently a member of the Karnataka State Higher Education Council and the Academic Senate member of IIIT Dharwad. Sir, a warm welcome to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shinde.
Our next speaker for the day is Professor Arvind Srinivas. He has over 36 years of experience in the IT industry through TCS, working across different stages of an IT software lifecycle in different industry domains, such as banking, finance, insurance, education, and manufacturing. He has worked in different roles, starting as a junior programmer, progressing to heading a multi-country account as a unit product head before being part of a group-level initiative of business excellence, interacting with aerospace, manufacturing, retail, IT, research, hospitality, and chemical companies in the Tata Group. Sir will touch upon the topic today, why design as a career. A warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Shinde.
Our next speaker for the day is an industry veteran. I'd like to introduce Mr. Dinesh Kulkarni, an animation, VFX producer, and IP specialist, adept at managing all phases of project lifecycle from ideation to screen, passionate about quality and innovation. His core competencies include ideation, project leadership, market analysis, training, branding, and marketing, with over 20 years of experience in media, VFX, and animation fields. He has been part of projects like Little Krishna series, Chop Chops, Wendy, and Paddle Pop. Today, Mr. Dinesh will touch upon the topic from an industry perspective on the design program and the specializations that are currently in demand. A warm welcome to you, Mr. Dinesh.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Shinde. Thank you.
I now would request Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, to please take over and set the context for our students. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Shinde. Good evening, my respected co-panelists, the students from BRDS, Kerala, and also others who are present in this webinar. I'm extremely happy to be a part of this webinar. It's a info session which we would like to provide the complete information about design programs and also the possible career paths going ahead. This info session would give you some idea to make an informed choice. Will also give you enough information to understand what is in store about design. When we decide to join a design program, possibly you need to consider a few points which I would like to highlight. The first and the foremost thing that needs to be considered before going ahead with any of the programs, first thing you need to look at is when exactly you're going to graduate, what will be the scenario, work scenario or work environment during that particular period. That's point number one. Point number two, you need to know how the kind of expectations are going to be at that point of time. Next, you need to ponder about what is the career path that you can consider? What is the career path that you have in mind? What is your dream career path? The third aspect is in design, what will be the program that you are interested in? Because there are a variety of programs possible within design itself. Therefore, you need to look at what are those kinds of things. Then the last, which institution to study the program that you have in mind to get that career path to succeed in the environment which I mentioned 4 years down the line. Meaning the 4 aspects which I'm going to talk about are all interconnected, interrelated, and interdependent. Therefore, we shall start understanding one by one. First, the work scenario 4 years down the line or in the coming years. First and the foremost is there'll be plenty of opportunities compared to what we see today. That's one thing which is very well articulated in most of the articles, most of the information leaflets that are produced. Second, the future is going to be technology driven. Therefore, the knowledge of technology becomes very, very important in all walks of life. This is the second prediction that's been made. The third prediction that's been made is design, which at this point of time are confined to few domains, is going to reach out to all domains. In other words, a design professional would be required in every walk of life going forward. That's the third prediction that's been made. The fourth prediction that's been made is the technologies like automation, artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain will become part and parcel. Even the metaverse is going to become a kind of thing in the future. Coming to workplace and the workforce, one prediction made is a single job in a single company throughout the career is more or less not there. Means there'll be the workforce will be changing the jobs at regular intervals of time. Thereby, they'll be working in multiple companies and multiple job roles in their career. That's the other prediction made. The next prediction that's also been made is that future will provide lots of opportunities for the people who have multidisciplinary skills. Means apart from what you are going to study, if you can also pick up the concepts from the related fields and apply those concepts, then you will stand out. Therefore, people who are going to stand out, people who have skills different from others, are the ones who are likely to succeed. The people who are going to experiment, people who are going to try out new things, are the people who are going to succeed in the future. This is the other thing that's been made. Coming to program of study, there are lots of programs of study that are possible. It's a BDES program, Bachelor of Design program, wherein you can choose the product design, interior design, jewelry design. You can think of communication design, user experience design, then variety of things. And it's also possible that you can do a major in one design program and a minor in something else, completely a different kind of a thing. It's possible for a design professional to get a major in product design, a minor in maybe computer science, maybe in game theory, maybe in law, maybe in music. Therefore, it's a wide variety of things that are possible. Therefore, the program of study will have multiple facets and multiple dimensions which you can choose. That's the other thing which you need to remember. The last thing is the education institution. Education institution, you need to choose a university which understands the future quite well, which offers a curriculum in line with the future requirements. You need to join an institute or a university which has understood the national education policy. The national education policy provides a lot of flexibility. Any university which has understood that is the university you will need to choose. And a university which offers a minor and a major, that kind of university you need to look at. A university which provides you a flexibility is the university which you need to look at. You need to join a university which provides the internships, the practical experience, skill sets, along with the knowledge, is the university you need to choose. I'm extremely happy to say Dayanand Sagar University is a proactive and a progressive university which has understood all these things quite well. Therefore, if at all you choose a university, you start preparing a list of these things which I mentioned. What is that list? List is institution A and program A. Institution B, maybe program B. Maybe institution A and the program of a different type. You make a list of all these things and start doing the kind of the job required to select an institution. Select that institution which provides an opportunity to nurture a passion, because ultimately the passion is the thing which is going to play a major role. You must like what you're going to do. An institution which nurtures that passion, which provides that opportunities, is the university you need to look for. I'm sure the two experts who have been invited to talk to you about design program will give you all the information that you are looking for. At the end of this particular campus info session, I'm sure you get a fair idea what to do, what exactly. Most of your doubts will be clarified by the end of this info session, so that you can make an informed choice of choosing a program, choosing a university to pursue your higher studies. With this, I thank the organizers for inviting me to be a part of this webinar come info session, and also wish each one of you the best of luck. Lots of opportunities, and you are sure to succeed because there are plenty of possibilities which you can explore. I wish you all the best. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I would now like to invite Professor Arvind Srinivas to take over.
Thank you, Shinde. Thank you, Professor Murthy, for the wonderful insight at a high level, and more specifically, the interest on the concept of major and minor, which appears to be quite unique, which was definitely not there when we all studied. So I probably would have loved to do a degree all over again if I can, because that gives me the opportunity to specialize in something which is major and also something which I can pursue as an offline hobby. Before I start, I just thought I'd just explain a couple of minutes in terms of what exactly are we talking about in terms of this particular session. See, we talk generally about innovation. Innovation is very highly valued but very difficult to practice. So how do you execute innovation, ensure that the products resonate with customers? This is what is going to be the objective of this session of mine, because I'm primarily a practice person into daily operations. So I will explain a lot of things related to that. And whether it is small or big, innovations are best only when they address the real human needs. That's what is generally understood. And designing a new product or a service or a business model is primarily about changing your thinking process. So essentially, design thinking is a problem-solving approach that enacts innovation centered around the customer's need. It is both user-centric and solution-centric, which sets it apart from other problem-solving frameworks. What I mean by user-centric is the process focuses on the customer wants instead of what professionals assume that's the best product. And this requires empathizing with the product's end user And that's where design thinking overlaps with what I call as a human-centered design process. I'm sure that most of you are aware about certain benefits of design thinking, especially when you develop new products that meet the customer needs and drives the revenue, or probably if you want to gain a deep understanding of customers. The user-centric approach requires you to deeply understand customer motivations, fears, dreams for the future, their pain points, and developing empathy for the people who use your product or your service, and allows you to innovate for their actual needs. And obviously, design thinking saves a lot of time, money, and effort. In other words, it makes it convenient for a design product with a lot of thinking behind, or even a design service, which you will see shortly in the presentation. And of course, I don't need to say this. Professor Murthy has already mentioned that if you're a job seeker, which is what will probably be another 3-4 years down the line, you will gain a competitive edge in the job market of design. And in fact, there is a critical time to invest in design thinking skills, especially in different domains. It's not restricted only to banking, finance, insurance, or whatever. There are a lot of jobs which are now requiring design thinking skills. But one of the key tenets of design thinking is to overcome what I call cognitive fixedness. That means it's the state of mind in which one consciously or unconsciously assumes that there is only one way to interpret or approach a solution. So this gives you different ways of looking at your product or a service. What else can this product do when considering potential solutions? Like, for example, initially, when we had the mobile phone, nobody even thought that they could probably look at the mobile phone as probably a watch. And then subsequently, it also became an alarm clock. And now mobiles have almost gone, and you have got wearables, which are now giving you almost many features of what a typical smartphone does. So that's typically what one needs to look at in terms of what else can it do. And of course, as you grow in your career, you will definitely lead a team towards innovation. So with this background, I just wanted to share my screen and kindly confirm if my screen is visible, Shinde.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, perfect. So with this, I just thought I'll try to start off with the career opportunities for the opportunity Bachelor of Design. And of course, the 4 speakers today. And of course, the one at the bottom left is me, who you are speaking to. I'm not switching on the video primarily to save some bandwidth, because I'm in a different location today, and that calls for little saving of bandwidth. I hope you understand this. So design thinking is primarily which emerged as a particular approach for solving problems way back when many of us were not even born in the 1960s, and has nothing to do with the internet. It's just that the internet enabled faster adoption with the advent of internet. It has been a tool, and this discipline gradually evolved in time, looking into day-to-day life problem solving, human-centered design, very similar to the scissors for those left-handed people, or probably the wristwatch or the utensils or the visual appeal. And now in the last 1 decade, around 2008, when Harvard and other universities started formalizing this as a formal design program, that's when probably it started becoming known. And just like the way you see in the screen, unraveling the secret of knots is an analogy of solving real day-to-day life problems. And this is exactly all what design thinking tries to do. Design thinking is a process of solving problems, as I mentioned earlier, by prioritizing the customer needs above all else. And it relies on observing with empathy how people interact with environments, and employs an iterative hands-on approach for creative, innovative solutions. So there are some elements of design thinking which I just wanted to talk about. These are some 5 elements which you see on 5 sides of the pentagon here on the screen. The first one is a human-centered approach. If you do not understand the person for whom you're using the thing, then whatever you try will simply not work. So it has to be centered on the human being. Then there has to be some creativity. Creativity is basically creating an open, playful environment for fueling creativity. It allows you to frame the problem from a new way altogether, and look at it from different perspectives and considering a variety of solutions. Creativity also means that there should be no fear of failure. You will not be reprimanded for having failed, or what I call a dare to try. And that's exactly what the Professor Murthy was already alluding to by saying that you need to experiment a lot. And that's what we are talking about. And then we are talking about an iterative solution. Once you have come out with an initial idea, or a solution or a product or a service, then it's important to keep challenging this and reframing the problem. Test, iterate, and each early rounds of testing and feedback helps you to ensure that the solutions will be consumed by the people very well. And of course, design thinking is also a lot of collaborative in nature, primarily because people with the different perspectives work together, which you will see in the screen where I keep sharing subsequently, creating multidisciplinary teams that encourage different viewpoints and a client co-creation. And it's also working in a flat hierarchy. There is no concept of a rigid hierarchy like what we typically see in general corporate worlds, and that's where design thinking helps. And finally, a prototype that can be used to actually communicate and test your information, data, or product or service or whatever. It can be a sample product or an idea drawn on paper, or creating a tangible representation of your solutions, allowing sharing and gathering feedback. It can be a throwaway prototype, it can be an evolving prototype, and there are various types of prototype, which we'll see in the coming slides. This is the first slide which I thought I should talk about. This is a lemon in a restaurant which I came out in Bangalore very recently. A very unique design. They have a small mesh around that so that, when you squeeze the lemon, the small seeds, they don't fall on your food when you squeeze. This is a classic example, in my view, of what I call as human-centered design, because they know that, I don't want to eat the seeds of the lemon. This is a very simple thing. It's nothing great about it. Or look at this. I saw last week in one of the hostels, where, the sheets come with a very handy little pocket. That is because when you're watching the mobile or watching the TV and all that, instead of keeping it under the pillow, you just put it inside a pocket, which is available and the same designed and same cloth as what your bed sheets are. And then you do this. And this is another classic example of what I call as a human-centered design. Or look at this, which we saw recently in APAC last month. Shopping cart with a calculator, because many times people keep on adding things, but they also want to make sure that if the vegetables weigh so much and if these fruits weigh so much, what the total which I have to spend at the counter when I check out. So with the calculator built inside this, it makes easier to find out what's your budget which you have come from, instead of simply picking up all over things. Of course, this is not a very popular product, let me also tell you, primarily because many shopping malls, they want you to buy as many as possible. Therefore, they didn't like this product at all. But there were certain niche shopping centers which did like this calculator being built in and made sure that, when the customers come with a specific budget in mind, they calculate exactly what is the cost they are going to incur when they do a checkout on the screen at the end. So this is another example of human-centered design. And then a couple of small things which I thought I should also talk about in terms of how not to design. Look at this, for example. It says, don't drive safely. That's the impression one gets if one looks at it. But actually it says, don't die and drive safely. That's what it is. But this is a very poorly made design in terms of what it is, because with the letters R and don't die and all of that. It's not easy when you're driving past this post, especially putting it up on a small billboard or a dashboard on the driving on the scooter or the car or whatever. So this is something which you should not be doing, is what I just thought I should tell you, that this is not a design thinking. So next, getting into a little bit of what exactly is the creativity all about. You will see this on the screen right now. This is a swing which is designed. Look at the swing, which has got the kid and the parent, both can swing together. The upper portion where there is a small rubber belt with the patch, that's for the kid, and the one on the lower one is for the parent, and both of them can swing together. Most of the designs, I saw this in one of the apartment complexes recently, where they find that generally parents want to make sure that the kid and themselves both go together, but many of these swings are all alone. This is something which is again a wonderful example of very simple creativity. Or look at this, for example. This is a small concept using, you have these bamboo straws off late, but then this particular restaurant in Bangalore, they started using pasta instead of plastic straws. This is iced tea. And they find this very interesting. You just chew it up and that's it. And the pasta is again all tubes, as you know. So they manufacture pasta in such a way that it's about 6 inches to 7 inches long. And it's a very simple concept which can be very easily implemented in any place. Or look at this. This is again which is being experimented right now in one of the tropical places, not in India. It's somewhere in Arizona, where we are having the solar charging for electric cars, so that the solar electricity can charge the car, provide them the shade as well. And currently it can manage only 4 cars, there are some concepts which are trying to see whether it can probably work in a multi-level, having more cars and all that, because it does not work out economical for them because they have to also pay for the charging at times. These are some very simple concepts of how one can fuel creativity in this. And look at this example from Yanko Design. This is a very simple set of blocks, cork furniture made out of pure cork. And you can see various kinds of chairs, a easy chair or probably a bench, all this being assembled in different blocks put together. And this is what you see on the screen. The 3 different types, what you can see. This is something which I call as a center table or a side bench or whatever you call. And of course, I just picked it up from one of the Yanko Design ads, which they came out recently. Look at this. This is another example of a very simple distillery bottle, a small animation on the screen, where they're trying to use a small hose pipe connected to this to water the plants of this thing. This is another simple example of how one can effectively utilize the distillery bottles, which we generally tend to throw. And look at this. This is another hostel where I saw in 2 months back. This is a small door, and the door actually bends halfway through. And therefore, this becomes a table tennis door. So you don't need really a table. You don't need to go to the sports room or whatever. You can just play. And the best part of it is the ball does not go all over the place. It either falls in your room or in his room. That's it, period. And this is a very simple design of a table tennis door, which generally people in the hostel want to do. They don't need to go to the sports room or whatever. And this also provides privacy if you know the neighbor very well as well. And this is something which is coming up from one of these well-known ones near Decathlon and all here. This is a folding bicycle backpack, which makes good use of gravity. You can see this. This is a complete set. And the reason why it folds, the smaller wheel actually goes down below. So it doesn't add much to the weight, unlike the bigger wheel, which actually goes on the shoulder. This is a proprietary design of Begmonch, which is a German company, which is what I'm just showing on the screen. Or many of the times we find it very difficult to pack boots because they generally occupy a lot of space. So this is still under production. It's not yet completely formalized. They have a small zip where it can fold it into one, and then it allows you to compact the shoe and gives you more space, especially when you're trekking or when you're packing for a week or 10 days kind of a thing. This is another classic example of how one can utilize the space over here. Then the third element which I talked about was iteration. There are various levels of iteration which everything goes through. And I'm going to show you one particular example of an iteration. So you can see examples here in terms of either Microsoft or Apple. Using an iterative approach, these products of Microsoft or Apple are regularly updated with new features, benefits, minus some of the problems of the previous editions. Even writers, musicians, cooks use an iterative process to refine their own creative work. So I'm going to take one particular example here of the Surface tablet. I'm not very sure whether how many of you use a Surface tablet, but this is something from Microsoft which has come in way back in 2012 when it was known as Surface RT. And then you can see the timeline on which from October 2012 progressing to 2013 and it is up to 2017. That's when they came out with a more affordable tablet in India. Because in India, when we are having products like the Android, which is considered to be more affordable, or the latest ones like the Apple iPad and all that, this is something which is considered as moderate. And subsequently, that's the time when Microsoft started coming with their own sustainability product. And you can see this particular screen over here on Microsoft, the way they're trying to create.
For a long time. And as Microsoft took on a waste initiative, we started to look at, well, where are some of the areas that we can continue to innovate in the space? As product makers, we had this idea of, what if we could take the plastic out of the ocean and make something from it?
A lot of the products that are being produced by Microsoft are primarily made of plastic.
And so that's what we decided to use an existing policy that's already out in the marketplace, but we could replace the materials and make something special out of that.
We really worked with partners that this was their expertise. Then we learned a lot about materials, material science, and some of the innovations that are happening within plastic recycling industry.
We managed to actually create a plastic resin that was 20% recyclable ocean plastic. Right then and there, that became an innovation. That's the first time the ocean plastic has been able to be reclaimed and then used in a consumer electronic plastic.
So this is something very interesting, which you can see. They have used collaboration with some third-party people who are specialists in the using of the oceans of microplastics. And in the last 3 years, Microsoft has come out with a lot of reusable plastics. And this is what you will see as this journey at the bottom of the screen, where you can see by 2020, they improved their entire commercial packaging. And by 2025, they want to make the zero use of single-use packaging. And by 2030, they want to make all their surface devices completely 100% recyclable. So you don't need to go to a shop like Chroma, where you need to put them in an electronic e-waste dabba to say that please take my old mobile or take my old iPad or tablet or whatever. And that's how they're trying to get into sustainable products. This is something which is a classical example of how repeated iterations are happening year on year with Microsoft. So next thing is about prototyping, which I talked about. I'll give you a small example from one of my parent companies here, which I'm sure you will probably recognize. Look at this. This is a small example. I'm not going to talk about this, but this whole video will explain everything in terms of how this was supposed to be meant for summer, but unfortunately right now in Bangalore and parts of Kerala and Tamil Nadu, we are having rains. So this does not make sense in the current context of having a small watermelon drink. But the idea here is to show you how the item, the prototyping for a particular jug or a prototype made out of watermelon is typically used here for the sake of design. Look at this. It's a very simple design, the way it's being done. And this has taken about 6 or 7 iterations for the Indian hotels to probably catch up and make sure that they're able to do things like this. Or look at this in terms of how the tap is being fitted at the bottom of the watermelon, where it's very simple to put this across. Or probably looking at how the entire watermelon juice is actually filtered across after putting it through a mixie and then making sure that it gives you. And finally, the product which you see up to nearly 6 or 7 prototypes is what you see here, keeping on the right-hand part of the screen, where you can see it appears as if it's a small water jug made out of a hollow watermelon with the 2 glasses of watermelon, which is undiluted. This is a classic example of how prototyping has been done. And this took them about nearly 7 or 8 prototypes before they figured out this is the best way to do these things. Collaboration. I did talk about earlier on Microsoft where they do collaboration. And this is a classical example of, for those of you who love animals, in terms of how to do collaboration with the different disciplines and programs of study and all of that. So with this, I just wanted to reiterate the fact that you need to follow your passion and develop your choice for your program of study. Don't need to follow by what your peers say or what your other people say. Just follow your passion and make sure that you choose the right program of study within this. So with this, I just wanted to conclude to talk about the 5 elements of design, which I talked about earlier in terms of the human-centered approach, the creative approach, the collaborative approach, and the prototype, so that it summarizes the 5 broad elements of what typically design thinking is all about. Given this, I wanted to summarize what are the various options available for you as you look at opportunities from the BRD's design studio where you're all studying right now. Just giving you a sample of some engineering design types in terms of games, animation, or others in terms of product design or communication design, the graphics, the video, or the others like the marketing flyers or paper inserts, industrial design, which I didn't talk much about, interior space design, user experience design, which is more for IT people, and then other areas like fashion design, jewelry, fashion design for textiles, jewelry design for companies like Tanishq and other jewelry people and all that. And there are many more on this as well. So this is just to give you a broad idea in terms of certain practical things which are getting into it. Before I hand over to Dinesh, I just thought I'll try to explain to you on how the industry actually operates. As you can see, this is a 3-gear wheel. With the industry conduct is actions taken by the industry players in terms of whatever area they are in. Then the supply chain capacity, which is the quality of students which is coming in from different institutes, and including the Anand Sagar or NIFD or wherever you're talking about. And then the lower gear, you can see how the demand ramp up happens based on the realistic adoption by companies. So essentially, it's a 3-way gear wheel in terms of industry conduct, supply chain, and the demand ramp up, which is what calls for better careers in engineering design. So with this, I just wanted to thank the organizers, Srinivas Shinde and Professor Kendramurthy for inviting me. And thank you, Shinde. And I hand over the control back to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I now request Mr. Dinesh Kulkarni to take over and give the industry perspective to our students. Over to you, Dinesh.
Thank you, Mr. Shinde. Thank you, Professor Arvind. It was very insightful. Well, I'll just continue where Professor Arvind left. Okay. 3 aspects there. We have close to 20 minutes now. I would like to, from a personal perspective, we will look into what all ingredients I should have ready. Okay. What all skill sets I need to groom. Okay. Then we will look into what all possibilities are there. Okay. Because I come from animation design, visual effects design, or what we call it as new media design, and the emerging design areas like opportunities in augmented reality and virtual reality. These are the areas I come from. Okay. Now, welcome inventive minds. When I call you people designers, okay, you want to have a design as your career for next 30, 40 years. You would be putting enormous productivity, productive part of your life. Okay. So either you would be a self-employed, or you would be working for someone, or you would be an entrepreneur, whatever role you wish to take up. Okay. What are the ingredients that is required to have this inventive mind? Okay. When we say inventive mind, you are the people who see things that don't exist. That's what Sandeep Paul keeps telling, the famous designer. See things that don't exist, but you can see things where others don't see. You can see something that is there, that is invisible. Okay. So when we say see things that don't exist, if you look at Uber was not existing. Okay. When it comes to transportation design, Uber was not existing. Okay. So it is a decacorn or whatever, unicorn or decacorn, whatever you call it. Okay. So here is a guy who faced some issue with a taxi guys in New York, and he wanted to find a solution where wherever I needed transportation, whenever I want, from point A to point B, it should be made available in all formats. Like whichever vehicle I would like to fly, I should be ideally able to have access to those. So that is where, when it comes to Swiggy, okay, what do you want to eat? Okay, when you want to eat. See, these are all things that was not there earlier. Okay, so it did not exist. Okay, it was in the invisible space. Okay, somebody had that power of curiosity. Okay, so what do you mean by curiosity? You as a child, you could have seen a 3-month-old child or a 6-month-old child. They're so curious. Okay, so curious. As they start growing up, you gradually see whatever the society infuses or whatever the environment they grow up. Okay, this power of curiosity is slowly getting killed. Okay, so when the curiosity is getting killed, then your inquisitiveness or the observation goes for a toss. Okay, with that observation going for a toss, your analysis that is dependent on the observation goes for a toss. That's why most of the 90% of the workforce that you get to see in the industry are in the service sector. Okay, when somebody tells them what to do, they do it efficiently. But when they have to design things, okay, when they have to design their own products, they struggle because they don't have that inventive mind. So whether you like it or not, you have opted for a career in inventive space. So what is the requisite? Usually some parent comes and randomly I see many a parent come to me and say, my child is very good in drawing, so he would become a great designer. No, art is a small part of it. Okay, when it comes to drawing, is a small component. Okay, where we talk about color, or we do explore on the color proportion or replicating an object. Okay, or inspired sketches. That's what we do. But along with it, you should have domain knowledge. You should understand how the industry works, how the revenue comes from, how you make a living out there. Okay, so if you want to learn swimming, first you should know the depth of the water, where you wish to swim. Okay, you should not end up getting drowned with the sea of opportunities that you find. Okay, so each water body has its own challenge. If you are swimming in the ocean, it has its own challenge, the undercurrents. If you are swimming in a river, you have its own challenges. Even in a small pond or a pool, if it is even 6 feet or above, there is every chance of you getting drowned. So you have to understand which industry you're working. So pick up specific, very specific domain skills along with your artistic skills. So if you want to have a furniture design as your career, understand how ergonomics works along with the art and the technique called carpentry. Okay, you become a future very good furniture designer. Same thing if you learn the art of sculpting, okay, then you understand the technology behind the transportation. Then you become a transportation designer. Okay, same thing with if you are very good in spaces, okay, and building materials and those kind of forms, then you can become architectural designer. Same is the case with if you are good with the pottery and you understand how the materials work, okay, then you become a good ceramic designer. Okay, so sculpting is a chief part of it. You should know how the texture, how the material works. Okay, so it is very important for us to have a parallel domain knowledge. Okay, in India, you find millions of engineers coming out, but not even a single engineering product in the last 80 years. So there's something that is not good. Okay, that's how we end up doing tremendous business in service sector, and when it comes to product sector, ideating on our own, we fail. Okay, so with these few thoughts, I'd like to get into my area of expertise called animation design and gaming design. Okay, just a moment.
You want any help, Dinesh?
Can you see my screen?
It's still we can see the mobile screen, but your presentation is not yet up.
Hello, can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your screen. Your presentation is not yet up.
Hello. Yeah, can you see my screen?
We can see your screen, Dinesh, but the presentation is not up.
Dinesh, your presentation is not screen. Yeah.
Now it is coming.
Not
you
enough.
have to enlarge it.
Just a moment. Okay, just a moment. Yeah. Yeah, just a moment. Just a moment. Hold on, please.
Just give us a second. He's logging in again from his desktop. Yeah, Dinesh.
Yeah.
You want
there
me to
is
show
a
the
problem with the
presentation?
sharing. Yeah, there is a problem with the sharing. Can you
No
just look
problem.
into
So I will go ahead and share it.
Okay, please go ahead.
Here you are.
Yeah. Okay. So we look into the design media and design school space. Okay. When you look at the sector, okay, you can go to the next screen, please. Yeah. So when we talk about new media design, okay, we are looking at primarily the media in the digital space. It's as simple as that. So to become a global leader offering world-class education in the field of design, in field animation, visual effects, gaming, filmmaking, okay, and proactively engage with the industry to adapt to the rapid changes in the technology landscape. So that's our vision, okay, when it comes to, because today you can see any brick and mortar company that was there, any brick and mortar industry that was there earlier, some 30 years before, without a digital presence, the viability becomes a big issue. Okay, so today any company should be digitally savvy for survival. Okay, can you just get into next? Yeah. So we prepare students to be media literate, media capable, media savvy. Produce, create, manage media for 21st century in all its forms. Understand how media impacts individuals, societies, cultures. Create fun, playful, engaging media. If you look at the kind of impact the social media is having today, okay, be it Facebook, Twitter, okay, enormous impact, okay, across geographies. Okay, they when as the war is happening in Ukraine, okay, where the connectivity is a big issue in terms of internet, okay, you have a Starlink out there and the Twitter feeds, the Facebook, the social media feeds that is churning the news in and out, okay, and the whole world is witnessing who is right, who is wrong. They have their own opinions about it. So the immense power of what technology can bring, okay, to the modern warfare, okay, where be it psychological ops, whatever you say, social media has tremendous impact the way the society is functioning today. Okay, you can go to next screen. Okay, so broadly, if I look at my digital space in terms of new media, animation, visual effects, gaming. Okay, we talk about OTT. Okay, television production and social media, large screen filmmaking, digital advertisement, and print and audio. These are the broad sectors you will get to see where the deployment is possible. So today you would come across terms like transmedia. When we talk about transmedia, any ideation that you take can be adapted to different formats. Okay, it can be a, take for example, if you have a comic book character like Superman or Spider-Man, okay, over a period of time it has got a lot of traction and a lot of following. So you find this comic book hero, suddenly you, some 30 years before, you can see a phenomenal transformation in the television space in terms of a 2D animated television series. Then after a few years, after getting much of distraction, they went into the 3D visual effects space. Okay, visual effects, live action movie space. Okay, then you can see quite a lot of money is getting made in terms of it as a gaming product. Okay, a Superman or Spider-Man or any Marvel comic book heroes, any of this, if you look at as an ideation, as a character, okay, it has multiple earning potentials in terms of it being a gaming product. Okay, so it's a live action movie, 2D animated movie, 3D animated movie, enormous scope in terms of merchandising. So today an idea is not restricted to any particular sector. Okay, within the filmmaking and creative space. Okay, earlier there was a very fixated approach, what would go as a movie, what would go in the television space. Today those boundaries are no more there, and you see you can make as much money as possible. Recently, if you look at Bahubali, okay, Bahubali as a visual effects movie has earned spectacularly 1,500 crores. Okay, and Bahubali as a game is coming in, Bahubali as a television series is coming in, Bahubali as a 2D animated, 3D animated series is coming in. So that's how they tremendously leverage the product. So understand the possibilities. Any idea can be deployed in 360 degrees and the revenue can be cumulatively earned. Okay, these are the programs that is presently we have designed and we have been delivering in various universities. Okay, in the both undergrad and post graduation space. Next slide, please. In the PG sector, this one. Okay, before we design any program, we look into critically about this media, Indian entertainment media per se. If you look at, it's a $45 billion market. Okay, and if you look at in the $45 billion market, almost 50% of the business get transacted in television space. Okay, so you can see minimum 5 to 6 hours. If you have an elder at home, you can see more than 4 or 5 television serial consumption happens. Okay, and there is always a craving for news channels. Even Arnab Goswami's Republic has become a kind of a dramatic channel. Okay, a lot of emotions are put in. Okay, so a lot of what do you call it? The way they can emotionally connect and play with the audience is happening. So whatever techniques we use in filmmaking, we get to see in this kind of non-fiction mediums too. So it is very important for us to understand where the business comes from. So for a $45 billion market, the major business comes from television, followed by print. The print space is coming down gradually. So this space will be taken over by gamification, gaming space. Then of course you have film, gaming, and you have other music and other areas. Okay, that's how the whole industry is pegged as of now for 40. So whatever career you would like to make in the new media space, these are the possible avenues for you. Okay, next slide, please. So what is the difference? An idea can be deployed in, say, I can tell a story in 10 or 20 seconds. Okay, that's what I call it as persuasive storytelling. So when it comes to insight part of it, if you understand ethos, pathos, logos, okay, these are the principles indoctrinated some 2000 years before by Aristotle. Okay, so 2500 years or something like that by Aristotle. So the same principles are applying today. If you want to have a impactful advertisement, okay, you are bombarded with millions of television commercials, okay, every year. But some television commercials like washing powder, you will immediately remember Nirma, or for that matter, watch means Titan. So there is something like a signature audio behind it, or a jingle or a lyric behind it, okay, or some arresting visual. So what is it that makes the ad viable? What is it that ad makes impactful? How? So when it comes to that, an ad should explicitly, it should have these qualities. Either it should be happiness should be conveyed, or sadness, or contempt, or a surprise, or a disgust, or a fear, or an anger. Something has to be conveyed very clearly there. So only when it does play in the emotional level, there it would be called as an impactful advertisement. So along with the ethos, pathos, and logos, when we say authority person, when an authority person like Amitabh Bachchan or some Hrithik Roshan or a Sonam Kapoor comes, immediately what is this guy doing out here? So immediately it has the eyeballs on it. And when this authority person says, hey, mera ye le lo, ye product le lo, or something like that, then you trust him, okay, and you trust the product. Okay, then you have the pathos part of it. 80 to 90% of the people mindset in any purchase would be more of emotional by nature rather than logical by nature. Okay, who are logical people? If it is a lawyer, or if it is a say from a financial background, or a doctor, these are the people who are absolutely logical. They are not emotional by nature. Okay, but rest of the crowd, okay, rest of the people's mindset would be mostly emotional. So if you think if you are buying any product, more often than not, okay, you would be buying on an emotional basis. So you look at the kind of watch you wear, the apparels you wear, or the jewelry you purchased, or whatever you look at, product you have at home, the emotional part of it would have played a major role. Then comes the logical part of it. So for the people who are keenly looking at the specifications, so you have an ad that will say, okay, along with the Hrithik Roshan, a Sonam Kapoor, talking about how beautiful they look, the camera is, and how great the selfie looks, and all that. Okay, that's the emotional part of it. But along with the emotional part, you can see a small space, okay, where the specs are very clearly defined. Okay, this is the product which has a Snapdragon processor or a latest operating system, 256 GB memory or 16 GB RAM. It can handle so many gaming, this blah, 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 blah. So many of the aspects are bombarded, okay, from the logical side. So when all these three things are put together, a authority person, a emotional connect, and a set of specifications, that is what the packaging becomes very impactful. So in 10 or 20 seconds, you have to tell a persuasive story and convince your consumer to buy your product. Okay. And again, when it comes to animation, visual effects, vis-a-vis with live action. Okay. Again, there should be, when a story comes to you, you have to be very clear from a designer perspective, which platform should I launch? Like a script is typically coming to me. Okay. Whether the script is useful for animation or whether the script is useful for live action, it's that's simple. What is not possible in live action, I do it in animation. I cannot make a cat or a mice to act, okay, in live scenario. So I need a medium to tell such stories. That is where the animation helps me. Or if there is an environment where a movie like Interstellar or an Avatar or a kind of Martian kind of movies, have to be stories have to be told, then we need to create such environments, which is not readily available for us here. Okay, I cannot have that such environments built here. So we need a medium. That's where the visual effects comes in. So we have to be very, very clear when it comes to a movie in a large screen format where people pay $250 to $300 for a 2-hour entertainment. Without visual effects today, it is not possible at all. If you look at 1 or 2 movies that you would like to go in a month, and you spend that below the kind of money for a 2-hour entertainment or a 90-minute entertainment without visual effects coming in, okay, you would not be willing to spend that kind of money to go watch a movie at that price. Okay, so it is very important today. Any imagery that is getting published, okay, has to be digitally altered to make it presentable. Okay, so even if whether you take a selfie or whether you make a movie or an ad, without digitally altering it, it would become really impossible for us to have a decent presentation. So understand the power of how the digitalization is phenomenally transforming how the story is getting told. Okay, here there is one more instance I would like to discuss. That would be on the how entertainment was some 2000 years before or 1000 years before. It was all very personal by nature. Okay, there would be Akbar, there would be a Tansin, they would be singing. That's how the entertainment used to be pursued. Okay, it was very personal by nature. But with the inception of technology, you can see that okay, I can record the Tansin's rendition. Okay, and I can, without the source being there, I can hear whenever I want. That's what technology makes it easier. Okay, so when the same gramophone plate is put in a broadcast medium, in a radio, whomsoever, millions of people who are having a radio receiver can listen to and enjoy the song. So that is the power of what technology can bring about in disseminating the information. So when it comes to design of animation, visual effects, gaming, or filmmaking, the core tenet would be 3 pillars. One would be the storytelling. Storytelling has not changed in the last 5,000 years. So the basic ingredient has to be in. If your stories are not powerful, whatever technology you use, or whatever effects you are trying to bring in for a particular story will not run. Okay. So first pillar is your story has to be convincing. Even if you are going and presenting a business plan, okay, what is the story behind it? Okay, if you are going to be a pioneer like a Uber, you should say, you should have a story. Okay, what is my story? Well, people are exploiting in terms of transportation. When I want to hire a taxi, they were exploiting me. So I don't want that kind of exploitation. That's where the story develops in terms of Uber. Okay, when I want, where I want, that's where the vehicle is available. So that's where the Uber story starts. Okay, so your storytelling has to be powerful, be it entertainment or be it any Facebook. You say when you look at Facebook or a Google, people are phenomenally curious. So that's how the Google has this kind of traction. Okay, same thing. People phenomenally want to connect. Okay, with within their peer group or with outsiders. That's where the Facebook tremendously helps. That's where the social media, you find a lot of traction. So everything starts with a story. Okay. Then, of course, the technology you need to understand. Third part is the design. Okay. As the technology, earlier the technologies were there for 15, 20 years. You would be having ideally same technology. Okay. But today, every 6 months, a new technology comes. So accordingly, your storytelling design has to cater to those requirements. Okay. So when it comes to career opportunities, these are the career opportunities you get to have in the animation space. Can you go to next? Okay, in the digital filmmaking, yes. So earlier, all the movies were made in the film format. Today, the digitization has phenomenally transformed. Okay, so when it comes to digital filmmaking, these are the career opportunities that you have. Can you go to next? This thing? Yeah. So it's a blend of art and digital media. So these are the possible careers within the digital filmmaking space. Can you go to next? Yeah. Yeah. You need to understand, again, come back to the industry. If you look at a typical movie like Avatar, they spent $300 million. Okay. Over a period of 13 months or 14 months. That's the kind of money that gets spent. Or for an average Indian movie, every day they spend some 15-20 lakhs for a 1 minute of footage. Okay, so over a period of 6 months they complete the movie. and this movie is launched and it fetches, say, for in case of Avatar, $1.5 billion. Okay, $300 million investment, $1.5 billion return. Okay, that's the ROI. So it is very important for us to understand how the business functions. Okay, this is the first part. Okay, when it comes to even local movies like Bahubali and all that, they spend some 100 crores and they are making 1,600 crores. So understand the impact of when you choose a career. Okay, what kind of possibilities are there in the career? So sky is the limit. Okay, go to next. Okay, these are the top film distribution companies. Next slide, please. Yeah, these are some of the movies that recently we have taken. Even the height of COVID, these are the movies that were making 3 seconds. Overseas sector is also one of the major sectors. Today, Indian diaspora is spread across the world. Okay, so earlier the overseas market for Indian movies were very less. Today, with the rapid spread of Indian diaspora all across the other countries, so it has become a big market for us. Okay, so these are some of the so when you are designing any product, you need to understand the potential. Okay, what is the revenue potential for that particular product? Next. Now OTT. So what has saved us in the last 2 years of we were incarcerated in terms of being jailed for 2 years in terms of COVID. So what saved us was the OTT with the web series. Okay, so a lot of democratization of content has happened. Okay, the content consumption has tremendously increased. So in another year or two, you would not be having any more cable TVs. Okay, there will not be any Dish, there will not be any Tata Sky. Any upper middle class or a middle class would only be having subscriptions for Netflix, Hulu, or any of this Apple or Amazon, Hotstar. These are the kind of subscriptions you will be having, and it would be only on-demand content. Okay, whenever I want, wherever I want to consume the content, whether in the small screen in terms of your mobile phone or on a big screen in terms of your television space. Okay, whatever consumption, whenever you want. So if you are unhappy, I need a consumption in terms of a comedy product. Okay, so that's how you can demand the content you wish to, rather than the broadcaster telling you when to watch, where to watch. So that's how the OTT has democratized the content. So more and more people are getting opportunity, okay, which was not there earlier. The space is giving tremendous opportunities. Next is okay. So these are the key players in media and entertainment industry. Okay, next. These are the career opportunities. Next. Yeah. So gaming. So last, if we say we had tremendous digital revolution happening last 20 years, gamification would be the next in thing that will be there in the horizon. Okay, this will phenomenally transform all the sectors, right from service sector to manufacturing sector to any sector you take. Gamification would now you see gaming as an entertainment product, but gamification is definitely interaction design. That's what we call will play a phenomenal role in coming years. Next, if you look at the numbers. Okay, these are the broad genres that you get to see in the gaming sector. Next. Look at the market. European market, $32.9 billion. Latin market, 6.8. North American market, $44 billion. And if you look at Asia Pacific alone, $84.6 billion, $84.3 billion. So as I'm talking to you, out of some globally, some 750 crore population, some 256 crore people are playing a game right now. Okay, that is the kind of phenomenal connect the gaming has with the masses today. Any younger generation today, either they will be playing a game on a console platform or in a web platform. You name mobile platform, you name it, they are connected and they are playing a game. Okay. So next, if you look at, we are leading in terms of when it comes to IT services. But when it comes to game development area, we are lagging somewhere in the 16th position we are in. Even Indonesia and countries like, say, Canada or Italy are placed much higher. So this is a very sad part because our education ecosystem is not seen this opportunity emerging. So we find very less developers in the gaming field, which has tremendous opportunity. So going forward, this will be phenomenally transforming how the information is or engagement of a audiovisual happens. Okay, so earlier, if you see, the whole world was text-based. Okay, you would see print all the time. So from the print, we could see a transformation happening in the audiovisual space. So again, it was a passive medium. Now I can engage with the audiovisual. That's what we call it as interactive audiovisual space, or what we call it as interactive storytelling. Okay, so we have become an active participant. So that's how the gaming has huge potential, not only in the entertainment sector, but in all the other allied sectors. Next slide, please. These are the opportunities as far as the gaming career is concerned. Next. These are the target gaming industries in India and globally. Next. Okay, you can close it. Close it. Thank you. So with this thought process, okay, there is when it comes to design, going forward, any and every process would be automated. Artificial intelligence will play a major role, okay, in automation. Only few areas where a work opportunity would be there, or where a human involvement would be there, would be in the space of creative space, or in the interaction design space, or in the space of what we call it as design space, where a computer can never really challenge a human brain. Okay, in terms of emotion, in terms of storytelling, the computers are still not there. So maybe it would be these facilities from an artificial intelligence perspective might happen in coming years, maybe in a decade or two. But these are the sectors that would be sunrise going forward. Okay, so welcome to the design sector. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dinesh. It was a wonderful insight in terms of the new, the digital media options that are also available for students when they look at design as the career. And if you look at DSU, we are offering most of this. We also look at product design. We also look at user experience design as the career options that can be available to students. This is a multidisciplinary university, so you can definitely pick and choose and then decide on the program of choice. So thank you so much, Dinesh, for the insights. With this, we would like to inform the students that we'd like to come to an end of the today's session. And in case if you are looking at the Bangalore as an advantage for you guys, and would look at the Anand Sagar University, which is one of the top rated universities, also positioned as among the top 3 universities today in Karnataka. You could also visit dsu.edu.in and get more details about the program. You can even call our career experts at 080-4646-1800. With this, we would like to come to an end for today's session. I'd like to take this opportunity of thanking all our esteemed speakers, the management of BRDS, as well as the students from Kerala who have taken out time from their schedules, and they were able to spend that evening with us to know more about careers in the design industry. So once again, thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye. Stay safe. Good night.
Thank you, Shinde.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Shinde.
Thank you, sir.